Are you an aspiring comic artist who wants to become like one of the greats? Do you dream about seeing your story in bookstores around the world next to titles like Dragon Ball, One Piece, and Berserk? Breaking into the Japanese manga industry is no easy task, especially if you are a foreigner. Some mangaka, like Boichi, Shindo L, and Tony Valente have done it in the past, so it isn't impossible. But how do you do it? In today's video, I am joined by YoungwavyTheArtist, an American manga artist who is currently working with an editor at Kodansha to make his debut in the Japanese manga magazine Monthly Shonen Series.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? My name is Richard West. I'm a 21-year-old American rookie manga artist, and born and raised from California. I just released Holy Ark, Chapter 1. The story is based after a supernova scorched the entirety of the planet, and what came from that was mutations, and these mutations consume human life force, or consume the humans. And there's this task force. Main character Dominic Haywire is tasked to take these mutations out. I also have a Dave Neal account. I'm working with, I wouldn't say a rookie editor. It's a new editor under Shonen Serious magazine, Monthly Shonen Serious, under Kodansha.
I googled the magazine and saw that they had That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime on their roster, and I was like, I know that.
It's not the largest magazine out there. It's not one of your big hitters, but it is definitely a notable magazine out in Japan in terms of like worldwide success series. They don't have that many. Like you said, the Reincarnation as a Slime, that's probably the only thing that's broken out like past Japan.
Other notable titles published in Monthly Shonen Series magazine include Cells at Work, Attack on Titan Before the Fall, Yozakura Quartet, Versus, and Devil Survivor. So to get here, you mentioned you posted on a website called Days of Neo. And I personally haven't heard about this website until I saw you talking about it.
The closest we have to a Days Neo is like a Tinder. It's a matchmaking site for editors and creators, mainly for rookies that want to get their start in the industry, and they have trouble finding editors. So that's the norm out there in Japan. They have, I should say, nearly 500 editors on the site, and you post on there pretty much like a Webtoons. You post on there, you post your work, or like a Manga Plus, but the difference is it's not focused on readers, it's focused on your work and the editors. 90% of the work on there is storyboards. You post your storyboards up there, then an editor to give you advice. Basically, they'll give you a stamp if they want to work with you directly on that project, and you go from there. You finish it, you enter it in the competition, and that's how you get your way in.
When you said storyboards, that actually caught my attention because you must have to make like very detailed storyboards if you want them to understand what the hell's going on.
Not really. You can't be extremely loose. It has to be somewhat readable, but these editors, that's their job. They look at storyboards, they look at rough thumbnail sketches, so they know how to piece it together as long as the dialogue is readable. But going back to that question on how I found the site, so I found a couple online friends that live in Japan that are also rookies. Also, some of them aren't rookies. Some of them are actually working in the industry, just they haven't had any success, but they're working in the industry. So I asked them, after I followed them, I stumbled across their Twitter live. I just hopped in there just to say hello or just mess around. I didn't know they would be able to speak English. One of them did. My now mentor, Motohiro, I'll go ahead and drop his name. Motohiro Ozaki is that's the dude that recommended the site. It was another dude that also recommended the site. He's a writer. I forget his tag, but you may know who it is if I showed you Monitor. But yeah, they showed me the site. They showed me a couple other sites as well that we'll get into.
Just to dispel this myth that I see a lot in my YouTube comments where people are like, you will never be a mangaka because you don't live in Japan. Like, what do your online friends and these editors think of what you're doing? Like, they think it's cool, right? Like, it's still manga to them.
I've only heard that from American fans or readers. They don't look at manga and comics that as different as we do from the outside looking in. Even a lot of them use the term comic as just casual as they use manga. So they don't look at it as any major differences. Not the ones that I've spoken to. A lot of them actually love and want to visit America. At least my mentor, he loves American movies, and it's like the complete opposite. Like I'm into their culture, he's into our culture, but it's even my editor. It's not. They don't look at it as manga being exclusively a Japanese thing. There's always been foreigners for at least a couple of decades now, or a bit more, maybe up to 30 years. There's been foreigners out there working in that industry.
My next question was about being Japanese or speaking Japanese. So from like what it sounds like, anyone can apply on like Days Neo and like post their stuff on there, and you don't have to be Japanese to do that.
Well, the site is a Japanese site, so you do have to translate it I use my search engine browser. You don't need to be Japanese to to post on this site. There is a site called Jump Rookie, which is the other site I was recommended for people that want to get into Shueisha exclusively. There's a site called Jump Rookie, and that's what they use. It's pretty much like Days Neo, same thing, a bit different. They have some differences, but that site is exclusively, you have to upload your work in Japanese for the Japanese audience. I was a bit ignorant and I didn't do that for Days Neo. Well, I wasn't completely ignorant. It crossed my mind, but I wanted to target those editors that spoke a bit of English or understood somewhat of what I was doing, and I didn't want to hide the fact that I am from America, because I want to target those type of editors that want to work with artists from America. I uploaded it in English, but you should upload it in Japanese. That's probably why I only got one offer. That's because it wasn't in Japanese.
Has your editor or like anyone you've talked to like mentioned like a growing interest in manga artists outside of Japan? Is it like rare for them to like reach out to people who aren't Japanese?
It is rare because she expressed how excited she was in the first couple of emails working with an American manga artist. She did say she was excited because it was her first time. Kind of sounded a bit weird, but you get what I'm saying.
That gets me excited, right? Because that means like maybe things are opening up. I don't know for sure. Don't quote me on that, anybody. I feel like whenever stuff like this happens, like recently Brandon Chen, if you know him, got that anime announcement.
I'll say this: it's always been open for the 21st century or the 2000s. It's been open. It's just the internet is now kind of exposing some of these options to, like, this is how you get in. This is, when think about it, any other jobs overseas, there's been tons of American people working over in Japan, whether it's this job, English teacher, or this job. Felipe Smith, he's probably the first American to go to Japan, maybe even the only, to go to Japan and work under Kodansha on a monthly schedule and work out there for a couple years. So, and that was 06, 09.
There are a lot of names that have done it. Yeah. So it's always good to remember them. What made you want to go for the Japanese audience? There's things like Dark Horse, there's Viz Originals, which is new, Webtoon's original, kind of yikes at the moment. What made you want to go the path that you went?
I've always had an interest for the American comic book art, or the American comic book industry, just as much as I have interest in the Japanese. It's just the industry here it's very small. I did a video kind of going over it, my problems with the industry and how it's been like pretty much ran into the ground. But it's very small. It's not very rookie creator friendly. It's not a place where you can get your start as it used to be. So I would love to work in the American comic book industry, like under a publisher like you mentioned Dark Horse and Webtoon, but Image Comics is the biggest traditional publisher for creator-owned work, and a lot larger than Dark Horse, other than Marvel and DC, because they have a stranglehold on the American comic industry. And I'm talking about like traditional periodical comics. So all the graphic novels and all that, throw that to the side. This is its own lane. The direct market, the monthly periodicals, is the Image is the biggest other than Marvel and DC. They're not new creator friendly.
I do want to ask about that because I feel like your artwork is very unique in the sense that I don't look at it and think, oh, that's mainstream shonen manga. I feel like the way you tone and ink, it is very reminiscent of like Western comics, but it's also done in a way that does look like manga, which I really like about it. I don't know who your biggest influences are or like how you develop this style of yours that makes it so unique.
Yeah, I have a lot of influence. I'll give off like a handful of them, but it's a lot. I have a traditional foundation and also an American foundation. So I grew up on American comics. That's where you get the sense of the American feel. I read a lot of Top Cow stuff. So Mark Silvestri is a big influence. David Finch, Dexter Soy, Mike Mignola, people like that. Robert Kirkman. So that's on the Western side of things. The Japanese side, Kiyoshi Takaki, but he's working on Heart Gear right now for Jump Plus. But previous work was Black Torch and Freaks. Tsutomu Nihei is the creator of Blam and Knights of Sidonia. Currently working in monthly shonen series, and he's been there for a while. That's the only reason I know of the magazine is because of Tsutomu Nihei, and he's currently doing Tower Dungeon. He's done Opossums.
So let's talk about your manga because I'm sure you want to talk about it.
So Guardian Reborn, genre is supernatural, and let's go with adventure. It's more of a shonen, and it's about a young boy training to become a guardian angel in order to save the rest of humanity from fallen angels that fell from heaven. That may sound pretty like broad or like an epic. The one shot I'm currently working on is nothing like that. It's condensed. I condensed it, but it's the original one shot. That's what it is.
Can you tell us how this new version you're working on might differ from the original version some of us might have read?
It's basically just stripped of all of the saving the world aspects, and it focuses on saving Baron's younger sister from a curse. And that's what I'm currently working on. That's the one shot, basically the premise of that.
Question, how long do you envision this being? Because I know you said that before the criticism was you're writing an epic. So do you have like a length in mind for how long the story might go on for?
Yes, I say epic, but if I can go the distance with a serialization, with this monthly serialization, it would probably be like 60 to 80 chapters, which is an epic in monthly, in the monthly scene. So that's probably about half a decade, close to a decade, because it's 12 chapters a year on a monthly schedule. So around 50, 60 to 80, if I can go the distance.
Do you think you could see yourself ever doing weekly?
Currently, no, because I work my best alone without like a bunch of people over my head kind of telling me what to do, or, getting a bunch of notes and, all that. I don't like working in a team. So if I were to ever do a weekly, I would have to have a team of assistants. And that's the only way that would be possible. So not now. I got to condition myself to do even a monthly. I currently cannot do a monthly schedule. So this summer is about me conditioning myself and, stepping up to the plate, stepping up to the opportunity that is presented to me. I can go the distance if I can handle it, but I can't currently. So I'm conditioning myself to do a monthly schedule, but weekly, not even on my mind.
Yeah, that was my next question. Like, how fast are you, or like how fast do you expect it to be?
So with the monthly schedule, you have to be able to do 30 to 40 pages a month. I think 32 is the average. 32 to 35 is the average you typically see with like a Blue Exorcist or Dead Rock. Most monthly, you probably see around like 50 to 60 on that high end, but you only really need to do about 30. Currently right now, in terms of page count, in a month, I could probably do like 25. So I still have some ways to go.
Something that caught my interest was on your Twitter account when you posted that plot sheet that your editor sent you. Can you walk us through like that whole, like what was that? What was that? That was just very cool, like behind the scenes insider info. So like I want you to tell me everything about that.
Yeah, it's nothing secret. I mean, the only things that, because I'm not under contract. I've heard some people say that I signed a contract. All right, I'm signed. I'm not under contract. It's just when you work with an editor, it literally, it's like a collaboration. Me and you right now, it's nothing different. I got sent that plot extract sheet basically because the way I structured my stories previously was it wasn't the standard. I usually structure like your basic 3-act structure where you have your introduction, insight, and incident, which would be, transitioning to your second act. You have your conflict and then your resolution to that. The extract sheet basically focuses on your main character's internal conflict, and it specifies that. That's usually what she sends to rookies. So she thought that would help me, and it did extremely.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting because, like you said, the 3-act structure. There's other ones too, like Dan Harmon's Story Circle is popular, and I did read a little bit about Kisha Tenketsu, which is something that like Silent Manga Audition talks about a lot. But yeah, it was cool actually seeing that sheet because I was like, oh, they actually have a template. But yeah, continue. I accidentally cut you off.
That no, that sheet. Yeah, you got it right. The Kisho Tenketsu is just it's the same model as that. It's a 4-act structure, but it specifies where you focus on the protagonist's internal conflict and how that affects the external conflict. Because you can obviously the external conflict is what the viewers can see, but you don't see the internal conflict. So you focus on that within the first and second turning point. Kind of rope that in with the how he defeats the external conflict, basically needing to defeat that internal first. So it's just focusing on the character's emotions. I'm in the proving grounds right now. Basically, I have to show my editor that I can even tell a story. And from there, I get, referred to the editor-in-chief after I enter these contests because I'm tasked with a 30 to 40 page one-shot for their competition. They have to rank highly or rank high and get the rest of the whole entire editor department, get their approval. Most people know that, yeah, you have to enter contests, you have to rank high, and then you get your opportunity, your serialization opportunity. But it's pretty much just a collaboration until you get that serialization. The one shots, it's not complicated. It's pretty straightforward.
So since you were working with a Japanese company and a Japanese manga magazine, do you have any plans to move to Japan and take that leap of faith?
If I can get a serialization, I'm going out there. If I get a green light serialization, and I'll go out there on a work visa because Kodansha is a big company. I haven't spoken to my editor about it yet, but I know they have programs that help me move out there on a work visa and be able to work with them directly. That's what I would like to do.
That would be insane. And finally, do you have any advice for aspiring comic artists who want to do something similar to what you were doing?
I would say if you're going a traditional publishing route, whether it's from America or Japan, go to the top. Try to get into the top because you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot by going to one of these smaller publishers and then you wonder why you aren't seeing any growth over like a decade. So go to the biggest publishers there is, the biggest outlet. So you have the better odds of getting your work seen by mass amounts of people. So you can actually make a living as well.
Thank you for your time, Youngwavy. Yeah. Super excited to see all the stuff you're working on in the future. Everybody, make sure to check out his social media, and we will definitely check back up on Youngwavy in a few months, a year, and see where he is at. And with that, I want to thank you for your time, and I wish you good luck in everything you do in the future.
All right. I appreciate you for having me. This was fun.